welcome to the Purlsbeforethyme knitting podcast. I'm Elise, and today I thought I was going to do a designer deep dive into everything I've made by Sari Nordlund and just talk about everything I've made by her. I can show you a little preview. So this is the pile of Sari Nordlund patterns that I own. And then also it includes the two pieces behind me as well. And the one I'm wearing. So I thought I'd just start with this one. So this is the Celeste Tee. It is a summer t-shirt pattern with a lace and bubble circular yoke. And then just stockinette body and sleeves. I have made mine in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, held a double, and I love it. I wear mine all the time. It was a real labour of love with the yoke because it had, I think, 600 or 700 bubbles individually to be made. So yeah, I remember the yoke taking a long time, and silk is quite a hard yarn, so my hands would get quite tired quite fast. But once the yoke was done, the rest actually came together quite fast. So I wear this quite often in the summer. The only thing that I think I need to correct with this is the fact that the neckline has grown a lot after blocking and with wear because it is a tubular cast on. So my plan is to just take a thin piece of elastic and sew it on the inside just to keep this a bit more in and to prevent drooping. But yeah, I highly recommend this t-shirt. It's really nice in silk because it's very airy and breathable for both summer use, and it's also warm in winter. So yeah, make it. It's great. Otherwise, I will start maybe from this. So this is a pattern called the Taka Cardigan. It's really chunky and you can make it very quickly, relatively. It is a pattern I actually made with not scrap yarn, but yarn that I bought very cheaply, and I didn't have enough of anything to make a full garment. But I used one colour for the sleeve, each sleeve, and then the body of it is in two different shades of Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino. I think one is Nordstrand and the other was, I don't remember the name, but it is two shades, but I held them together and they're very similar. So you can't tell basically at all that there's two colours in there. This is what I would consider more of a sort of at-home cardigan. It is got just a sort of, it's all made in one piece. You don't do like the back then the front. You work around and then you make increases down the shoulder and then you pick up for the sleeves. The sleeves have this beautiful decrease pattern where they have a sort of central double decrease down the side. And then a nice little cuff. I think I changed the bind off on the cuff because I really like doing what's it called, Judy's twisty bind off, because I find that's easier than a sewn tubular, and for this kind of at-home cardigan I wasn't so worried about it being that neat. But yeah, this is just a fun around the house cardigan that I wear. It doesn't have any button closures, it's just an open cardigan. It's just a nice cozy warm layer. The sleeve yarn is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool, and I don't remember the shade names, but some coral colour and a sort of very bright pale blue colour. So yep, that's this one. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about it. It's, if you're looking for a quick, bulky, easy around the house cardigan, do this one. Then I have tested quite a few things for Sari. So I've tested 1, 2, 3. I actually tested 4 things for Sari, and one of them I don't have. So the one piece that Sari designed, I think the first one I tested for her was the Urban Adventure Pullover, which is a Icelandic style circular yoke, and it's 3 colors, and I made mine in Letlopi. It was a grey main color and then 2 contrast colors, and one of them was this beautiful blue, kind of similar to the blue of that sleeve in Taka Cardigan, and then a dark brown. That sweater is actually my mum's now. She loves it. She wears it all the time. So I would say that was a very successful Sari Nordlund pattern and make. And yeah, if you're looking for a nice, easy Icelandic style sweater pattern, I think I would make that one again because it was very quick. I made it in under 2 weeks for the test knit. So yeah, otherwise I've got quite a few hats that I've test knit. So this one I test knit a couple of years ago. It is the Kanelbulle hat. It's got this really cute little cable pattern on it. It's supposed to look like a Kanelbulle, which is like a cinnamon roll in Scandinavia. And yeah, I made it in this, I think it's sunless garn. Oh, I don't remember. I think it might, I'd have to check my Ravelry notes. It might be double Sunday with mohair. Oh no, this is not. This is, I'm fairly sure it's double Sunday, but held together. Instead of mohair, I used lace weight alpaca from Filcolana called Alva in the same kind of color, and it worked very well. So that's this one. That's why the halo isn't so big, is because the didn't use mohair. The other hat I've test knit for Sari is the August hat, which is another cabled hat, which is very nice as well. This one has a little bit more space at the top, which is kind of fun. The difference between these two is that this one has like a sort of nice chunky cable that's repeated all the way around, and this one has 2 different cables. So this one's quite similar to the Kanelbulle cable, then it has like a thin cable in the middle, and then just nice. I can't remember if these are worked top down or bottom up. This one's worked top down. I think this one's also top down, but I really can't remember. But this one's also very nice and warm, and I'm really struggling to remember the yarn I used for this. There is mohair in here by the looks of things. Yeah, but this is also a beautiful hat. So if you're looking for hats to wear or to gift, I would really recommend these patterns. The other hat I have by her is the Iris hat, which I had some very fun variegated mohair that I used for this. It is a very simple top-down rib hat. So the whole thing is worked in 1x1 rib. It's very long, as you can see, and then you just fold it up. I remember feeling like this was taking forever. But you know what? I got there in the end, and I'm very bad at weaving ends in, so I just tuck them in because I'm like that. I don't weave many ends in. Most of my tops and things all have ends inside them, so you can't see that. This is a very cozy hat. This one is good for the cyclists in your life. It fits under cycle helmets very well. Both my parents are cyclists, so I've had to consider that when making hats for them. And so this one works well. The other ones that I've made that work well are like the Oslo hat by Petite Knit works well, as does, I've made the Seafield hat by Jen, I've forgotten her name. I'll put it in the description. But that one also works well. So thin hats work well for cyclists. Otherwise, I tested a summer top for Sari called the Sunkissed top. And this, I'm not going to try it on for reasons, but this is a really beautiful top. It is a sort of halter, well, not the halter, it's a racer back, that's what it's called. So the back is got this really lovely lace panel down the middle, and then it's got these straps that go over the shoulders. And the initial pattern that I tested suggested about 5 centimeters of positive ease, and that's what I based my sizing on. However, it became apparent once I'd started getting quite far in the pattern that was a bit too much ease. And one of the things that she changed in the testing process was that she recommended either zero ease or a little bit of negative ease with this pattern. So the issue I have with this pattern is twofold. One, the strap's stretched a little bit too much, so it's a little bit too cleavagey when I wear it. And the other thing is there's just a little bit too much fabric around, so it kind of gives a lot of side boob when I do wear it, which is a shame. So I mean, I'd wear it like if I were wearing like a sports bra or something underneath, but I don't really wear this on its own anymore. But this lace pattern here is so beautiful. So I would recommend making this, just obviously be aware that the ease issue, and also that a lot of summer yarns grow. So this I made in Tynn Line by Sandnes Garn. I had 2 strands together. It's got this beautiful shine to it. I really love the fabric that is made out of it, but it does stretch with blocking and wear and tear, and well, not tear, but just wear. So I have worn this, like when I first made it, I wore it a few times and then it just grew a bit too much. So that is just, you know, what happens with testing, and, you know, it's part of the process. But in the end, the final pattern is a beautiful pattern and I would recommend it. So my first ever attempt to make a Sari Nordlund was when I was a little bit inexperienced, and I was very ambitious, and I really wanted to make a very detailed cable sweater. And I decided the Sawyer pattern by Sari was a really good idea. So this is, it's not finished. I don't know, it's never going to be a sweater. It might be a vest. When I see this, I feel a bit sad. That's what happens, because the yarn this pattern calls for is Hedgehog Fibers Tweedy. And I wasn't able to access that where I am, so I decided that, oh yeah, speckled yarn will do the same thing. And the thing is, in some places it does look very nice where there's not so much speckle intensity. So I would say like this bit on the back here, there's some color but not too much, but then as you go down you can see in some areas there's just a lot of color and it pools quite a lot, and I just found that distracts from all the beautiful cables in this pattern. But I really think the detail of this is gorgeous, so I think I might just add a bit of ribbing to the sleeves and use it as a vest. The other mistake I made with this is the first time I ever used superwash yarn, and I feel like the drape isn't quite what I wanted it to be. So I think in the long run, I would like to make this again, but I would like to use a different yarn for it and use all the knowledge I have learned from this pattern. But it's a beautiful pattern. I would really recommend making it. It's got these gorgeous different cables on it. It's easy to see on this side, I suppose. But yeah, there's like a sort of viney triple cable, and then this gorgeous cable here, and then a bubbly cable, and then a sort of ribbed standard beautiful cable there. And then there's double moss stitch panels on the front and the sides. So that's the Sawyer. Don't make mistakes like me. So yeah, that's that. The next pattern I'm going to show is not one that I have made. It is something I was very kindly gifted. It is the Colette scarf. And this has a very lovely story behind it, which is that last year I took part in a sort of yarn exchange run by the Mostly Knitting podcast, which is a Norway-based podcast, and they have a podcast on Spotify, but they also have an Instagram channel, and they just said, does anyone want to participate in a sort of exchange where we will pair you up and then you sort of get chatting and then you swap yarn and things. And I was partnered with the lovely Natasha in Australia. She has a lovely Instagram called, she changed the name recently, I think it's Friday Mornings now, it used to be Friday Moon. And she is really lovely, and we got chatting, and she sent me a wonderful box with a load of Australian yarn, including like some possum yarn, which I'd never tried before, and some alpaca, and then some local merino. So that was really, really lovely. And yeah, and then she made me this scarf. So I don't actually have a lot of knitwear that people have made for me, so this is really exciting. And I've worn this a few times to work and such. It's a really lovely, sweet scarf, and I knew immediately what the pattern was because I'm a bit of a Sari fan. But yeah, it's got these lovely cables and a little bit of sort of lace work, and it's got I think it's a built-in I-cord edge. And yeah, it's a really, really gorgeous scarf. So thank you, Natasha, for that. I really treasure this scarf, so thank you. Next thing I'm going to show is actually these things behind me. So I have made 2 beret patterns by Sari Nordlund, and I don't wear berets. I use them as wall decoration. So this I made out of leftover yarn that I had. This is the Daalia beret. It was published in an issue of a Mirisu magazine, and it is worked in brioche stitch, and I think it's very beautiful. The original pattern had a very bright mohair, so it's 2 different yarn textures. So the other side, you can't really see that well. The dominant color is the mohair, but the original pattern used shing fibers, suri, a sort of fluffy suri yarn, and it's very, very colorful. They have a very bright color range, so I thought that was really cool, but I didn't have anything quite that bright in my stash. But I made this, and I've never worn it. I just hang it on my wall. I got these sort of rings that you can buy at like craft shops and put that one on. But ooh, I think my most beautiful piece is this. This is a piece I tested. It is the Kuutar beret, and like I just saw the pattern and I was like, this is gorgeous. And I think she has a pom-pom on hers, and I think she wears it, whereas I've never worn this. This is not for wear. This is purely like art, in my opinion. It is so gorgeous. I made this in either Sunless Garn Sunday or Knitting for Olive merino, held together with Knitting for Olive mohair. And I used the colour fennel seed in the mohair, which is a very, very pale yellow. And I think it's just this gorgeous pattern, and the lace work is so beautiful. And I think, like, I see this on my wall and I'm like, I can't believe I made this. This is so nice. It's worked from the center out. Yeah, and you can see on the inside there's a sort of I-cord edge if you want to wear it. But I don't. I want to put it on my wall because I think it's pretty. So that's my beautiful sari berries that hang on my wall. Yeah, I would recommend doing that because I think that's stunning. So yeah, they're both just on hoops that you can buy in craft shops. And the last pattern I have, just give me a second because I'm actually going to put it on for you so you can see. Hi again. So this is the Qatar Sweater by Sari Nordlund. And it is the same pattern as the beret, you can see, but it's obviously a sweater version, not a hat version. I know Sari has a lot of different Qatar patterns in that range. There's a cardigan, there's a sort of wrap with just the pattern down the sort of edge. And she's got, I think those are the main ones, but anyway, socks as well, I think she's got in the range. But they all have this same pattern here. And I love this sweater. I have made mine in Oslo Mikrospinneri Oslo Ull. And it's a really, really lovely sweater. But again, I have made mistakes with this. And one thing I would be aware of with this pattern is I didn't measure my arms when I made it. Normally when I go for patterns, I just I know what my chest circumference is and I look at that. This pattern I made a size 3, I think, because that matches my chest circumference. And you can see I have a fair bit of ease at the chest, but the problem I think was with the sleeves. So the sleeves are a bit tighter than I'd like. And I think the reason is because they were limited by the sleeve detail. So on the size 3 version, there are 3 repeats of the sleeve motif pattern, but on a size 4, there are 4 repeats. And I think that is a bit hard for a designer to make that decision. So I would definitely recommend measuring your arms before you make the sweater. And if you feel like a 3 sleeve motif, 3 repeats at the wrist is too little, just size up and then pick up more stitches underneath or do some kind of modification with that, because then you'll have a little bit more space here, because it does tend to pull, especially at the lower arm, and it means it makes it hard to wear actual garments underneath this. So I have to just wear this with, you know, a camisole underneath or something. So yeah, it's a beautiful top. I think it's so stunning. Yeah, I would really recommend making this to anyone. Just be aware of the sleeve issue when making it. The other mistake I made when making this was one of my first very long sewn tubular bind offs at the bottom, so it's a bit tighter than I would make it now. I think I was just overwhelmed by having, like, you know, a huge amount of yarn on a needle and sewing, and I found that quite stressful, whereas now I would do it a bit better. It's just a bit tight. It's fine, really. But yeah, it is a lot of work. This took me a long time. It's not the kind of pattern you can just sit down in front of the television and make, though that is my favorite kind of pattern, is one that I can just like not think about and just do garter stitch or stockinette, whatever. But yeah, I think Sari really puts a lot of time and effort into her patterns, and that really shows, and that's why she's so successful. In terms of patterns that I haven't made by her that I really admire, I think I'd like to make the cardigan version of the Qatar. I think that would be very beautiful. There are other patterns by her that I haven't made that I've wanted to make, but now I'm like, oh, I don't think I want to. But like the pan cardigan, I nearly made that about 4 times. I thought it's a very beautiful brioche cardigan. Oh, one pattern I really want to make by her actually is the poetry pullover. I have a little printed version of the pattern. It's quite a detailed lace work pullover all around. It's going to take a lot of effort, I think, mentally to do, but it's very, very beautiful. So yeah, the poetry pullover and the poetry range that she has are also stunning. I'm not really into socks. I won't be making her socks. But yeah, are you a fan of Sari Nordlund? Have you made any patterns by her? I would really like to see and hear about your experiences with her makes. So yeah, that's what I had to say today, and I hope you will have a wonderful week, or until next time. Bye!